Okay.
Welcome. Welcome to this orientation about this series called Women's Winter Work that Paula and I have crafted, designed, originated. And what I want for this call is for you to get really a taste of it and also whatever logistical information you might need, either to feel extra excited that you already signed up or to give you the information you need in order to decide. I want to introduce my dear friend Paula, who I know some of you are already very familiar with or familiar with to some degree. I wanted to do this series with Paula before I even knew what the series was, because having got to know her, especially over the last 3 or 4 years, but before that, I think it was 2 or 3 other years, we've been in several cool spaces together. We met at a permaculture convergence. It's a pretty great start. And then we were in a community healing intensive with Sarah Kerr, who's a death doula and mm, ritual practitioner.
Yes.
And yeah, being in that space with Paula, hearing from you, Paula, when you spoke, I would listen. I mean, I'm a pretty good listener, even when people aren't saying things so interesting to me, but how you articulated from your inner workings, from your reflections on the material that we covered in those days was very interesting to me. It fed me. And then, especially in the last about maybe 4 years, you said yes to invitations that I made to come and try out introductions and rage clubs and other conscious feelings work, and you came to grow your skill to deliver, hold space for emotional healing processes. And this all comes out of this specialty that I've been diving deep into in the last 5 years called conscious feelings work, which is a specialization from possibility management, which is, in a way, possibility management is a great big set of distinctions, tools, thought maps, and processes that are for creating and generating a completely new culture that is not patriarchal, colonial, hierarchical, capitalist, kill off life on planet Earth in energetic ways and in physical ways culture. And so your interest in your participation and watching you, Paula, like watching you become more, I don't know, I would say like present and distinct, and watching you as your voice started to become more, I don't know, even though everything you had talked about before you did conscious feelings work with me was interesting to me, there was something more clear about it, something more precise and concise, and more, you it was obvious to me you had more of your own authority in what you were speaking. And we had a lot of fun in the summertime joining two other women in the Edmonton area holding space for a retreat where I saw you again, Jill, and I had seen you, Jill, and Paula the year before when Paula created for herself a mother graduation. And about something like 6 or 8, 9 months maybe before that, you had asked me, Paula, if I would be alongside you as a coach, as someone who had already done a mother graduation and
Yeah.
prepared for one. For my preparation was 2 years. So we've done this juicy stuff together, and we've been growing and evolving alongside each other, especially what you bringing your menstrual cycle work and wisdom from your decades of tracking your own cycle, you bringing all this wisdom from the handiwork that you do. We both have a passion for using kind of upcycled materials to make to make I don't know, artifacts really. As I sit here, I've got this my beat book that you gave me. I just started it today because my old one was finished. Hello, Isabel. Welcome. You jumped on a moving train here.
Thank you. Sorry, yeah, there was a few things I needed to figure out. Glad to be here.
Great. I
Um,
I've been I've been talking about Paula and why I want to work with her and a little bit about this work that we've been doing kind of alongside each other, and we started more and more to weave. You got interested in conscious feelings work. I'd already been interested in some of the menstruality work that you did, and then you just started diving deep, and it was like wow. And then the dream work, you held space for me to see to some of the dream elements that have come up in my night dreams with magical effect. And yeah, and so it just seems like there's more of a relevance in the way that your, say, dream work and menstruality work started to weave with conscious feelings work. And I was really mind blown when I heard that you had started to book yourself in for emotional healing processes ahead of time, knowing which part of your cycle you were going to be in, so that you could really see to those things that came up during the time of the cycle that is very typically a time for things to come up. And I just thought, wow, what if women just always did that? What if I had done that my whole life? In any case, it's an honor to have worked beside you and worked with you and worked in circles with you. And the idea of really just hanging out with you regularly for through the winter was super appealing. And then suddenly it was like, wait, we've got a lot of value we could deliver to other people and join them, have them join in and do it too. And I feel a little bit scared because the context is so different from like a course. Like it's not this hierarchy where I don't want this series to be a hierarchy where me and Paula are the authorities on things and you're the ones learning from us. No, I want you to be coming from your own authority and weaving in whatever distinctions, tools, thought maps, processes one or the other of us might think this might be empowering for you because I've tried it, while you also say things like, from my own life and my lived experience, I've discovered these kinds of things that I want to bring as possibilities for other people to experiment with also. Take it away, Paula.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. Yeah, I am looking at this your faces and I'm in awe because you are you are all known to me and in this moment you're all mysterious to me. And Nicole, being on the receiving end of all that you've shared about me, um, yeah, I'm feeling this yeah, I'm feeling this joy to be known and this joy to know that I have shown myself to you in all of these myriad of ways in the messiness, in the unraveling, and yeah, in the work of building new competencies. And you are bringing me to just another edge here in in saying yes to this co-creation. And I mean, I'm freaking out about a whole bunch of things, including like how online spaces work and where I'm not competent. I'm I'm feeling a lot of fear in, yeah, these competencies I've built in my cycle that is shifting. I'm in menopause now, and I really actually can report that I don't know a lot of things. Like it just, again, I'm just in this, it's like I've had a map and now I'm in a new territory. And so like I really love that you've named this 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 space that we are creating, not to have necessarily you and I be, you know, the experts of anything, and to have a wealth, you know, I have a bundle that I'm willing to roll out and share with you all. And yeah, just like full transparency, I'm in the wobble of yeah, just looking at my bundle with new eyes, and so I'm just really wanting to name that. And Nicole, I'm wanting to really acknowledge the edges that you bring me to, and saying yes to this edge is really, really big. And just like rage, you know, many of the women here, if not all of you, have had tastes of this 333 practice. And yeah, I really want to acknowledge the edge of that you've initiated me into that territory of being able to consciously feel, embody, and rage. And these pieces that you're naming about the change of my voice and the change of how I hold my center. I really, really want to thank you for introducing me to that practice. Um, yeah, this piece about the conscious feelings work, I want to share something about Nicole, because I mean, Nicole is the one that might not be known to all of you. There's pieces that you know about me, but Nicole, I want to just really speak about this exquisite space holding that you offer for, and all that I've learned about the territories of feelings. Because even when I thought I was feeling, I was thinking about how I was feeling. And so this real like piece of dropping down into the body, and you know, having the snot come out, having the tears come out, having sounds come out of my my guttural belly. That's those are the places in me I've been able to access with your oohs and ahs and yes, go, and these simple prompts to really fully feel. Um, and Nicole, I thank you so much in so many ways for going first in many of these spaces, the mother graduation space in particular. Um, you know, Nicole invited me. She had this invitation, and she at the time was living in Calgary. I living in St. Albert, newly in St. Albert, and I just had to go. And seeing you speak without notes, and you spoke for a while. It was like, I want to say 2 hours. Like you spoke, and it was just to hear the flow of you speaking your story. It gave me again a beacon in terms of orientation and a map. It didn't give me the map necessarily, but it gave me an orientation about where I wanted to go. And you and your willingness to be with me in the preparation of my own mother graduation, um, it was life changing. And so, like, this space is the consequence of, yeah, of what transpired. And the night was one moment, but it was all of the foundational stepping stones. And as I say that, I'm looking again at this room of women. I mean, you are all a part of that. And here we are, like, for another, a rendition of like what we get to define. What is our work? What is our work for these upcoming months? What utterances do we want to put in the space and have them witnessed? And how does that now then become that sets these ripple of consequences, the consequences of the life we want to create? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So much appreciation. Wow. I love it so much. I'm seeing Paula's familiar face and Jill's some familiar face despite her new hairdo. And three women I have only had a little bit of conversation with some of you. And yet that you're here, that you would choose to be here, that you would be someone that Paula sent the invitation to, that the women that I've sent the invitation to who aren't here have been invited in the first place. Just what I already can, I think, safely assume is that you do the work. You do your work to some degree already. And I one of the outcomes of my mother graduation was to discover new jobs that I had, that I was being given by Gaia, by the morphogenetic entity field of the earth, and by my archetypal lineage. And it has so much to do with having been a woman, having been a mother to four children, having had my experience of raising children in the dominant culture, in modern culture, in capitalism, basically, be so devastating so often, and to have come out with this inkling that another culture was possible. It it eventually, I got really clear that I start creating this new culture with women. Yes, I have a partner. Yes, I hold I hold space for this new culture as much as I am able with him, and I go in and out of it. But when I'm with other women, I think it's that women have more space within modern culture to create another culture. And so I am not just longing for this, but I am burning for it. Like, this is partly where my conscious anger, I start to relate to my anger as Gaia's anger, not against anything, not versus anything. It's anger for this new culture. I want it. I want sisters. I want sisters, especially who are coming into or already into elderhood, like coming into this timeless part of your lives where, yeah, maybe your bleeding cycle is even become obsolete. And I started to relate through Paula's maps and coaching and information. I started to relate to the the menopause, post-menopause part of my life as you don't need these training wheels anymore. Like my bleeding and my ovulation were like training wheels to experience myself as a cyclical being. And to live on a spherical planet that rotates, orbits, and then chases the sun through the galaxy is there's just so many cycles within cycles. And to get to tap into the nuances of what may be planetary, neutrino, star, quantum forces acting on my little system here, or if it's stuff inside me that's coming through me and meeting those forces, either way, for me, this is the archetypal forces at work, and it is the archetypal forces that are what creates this new culture. Not survival forces, not survival of like, I've got to win, I've got to kill, I've got to dominate, I've got to, you know, force someone into submission, or I've got to be in submission, I've got to be in slavery to survive. So not that, but this circular, cyclical, toroidal, flowsome structure of culture and structure of it starts with each individual. And to have become more and more what I call archan. This is the name of the culture that I use to distinguish this new culture, is archiarchy, because it's created by archan forces, archetypal forces. And what's become possible through, what I know so far of what's become possible through this conscious feelings work and possibility management and this shift into more competent levels of responsibility. What I've seen empowered in Paula's work with herself and in the work she's starting to deliver to other women. And my guess is that the work that each of you have been doing, you may already be, or you may be very close to turning around and delivering the value that you've generated through your own work to other women also. So one of the things I want this Women's Work series to be is a place for you to own that and then have a team to encourage, empower, be shoulder to shoulder with you, maybe bring possibilities for you to start turning around and even just deliver a workshop. Try online delivery if you've only done in person. Get back to in person if you've been doing online for a while. I don't know how it went for each of you through the COVID isolation years. I had never Zoomed before COVID. Or maybe I did a couple times. Just one-on-one though. It was more like video calls. And you have maps. You probably have maps too that describe territories that make possible this orientation that you're talking about, Paula, or that add to any orientation. It's like, oh yeah, here's the orientation, but where's the map of the territory? So delivering those maps to us during the winter work calls. And then also, because what we've designed is that the calls will happen every second week, there'll be this week between where it's like, choose your own adventure, co-create. Don't wait for me or Paula to give you authority to hold a space and invite everybody. I mean, maybe that's permission right there, but it's like, go outside the lines of what you even assume you're being invited to do. This is part of flattening the hierarchy. No one at the top is saying you can do this, you can't do that. We're all saying, what can you do? What do you want to do? What do you want to become competent in? And experiment. use me as a guinea pig, please.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I I love these words that, even in our introduction or our meeting, Nicole, you talked about this convergence. We met at a convergence. And then you take that word apart and you have verge and you have edge. And like I am blown away at this moment because I've had so much one-on-one time with all of you, and there's such a sweetness in the edge that we get to explore as two people. And now this convergence, like I'm like, holy cow, all of my favorite people are in this room. And like, as I do, like I know so much about what edges you guys are all walking. And it's just like, yes, this invitation, like show yourself and dot, dot, dot. Like, what kind of party are we going to have?
Cool. I would love to hear each of your voices at least a little bit. I know this is a kind of orientation, so it's, really the task in this space is for Paula and I to lay things out for you. Uh, and I mean, maybe the questions would come from each of your own work. Maybe they would come from, I mean, yeah, I'd love to hear your questions. I'd love to hear something about what is your version of the story about how it is that you're here. I mean, some of you may not choose to join. I would love to get a little taste of you anyway.
I'll go. I'm warmed up. I had a beautiful walk in the woods with Paula this morning. So um oh, I'm enjoying this. You're both so articulate and such edge walkers. And I don't think I knew the permaculture connection. I've also got permaculture design certification and lots of exposure to that concept. So the whole edge walking is like, woohoo! um, why am I here? Because I just feel so drawn to be here. I got to spend time with Nicole this summer at the retreat and then also at the Introduction to Rage Club a few days later. And there's just such resonance I feel from her that uh, it's like a tuning fork or something. It's like, I want to be tuned by her. Put me in. Um, and I was saying to Paula this morning too, just I've been able to watch Paula's voice solidify her authority, strengthen. She's been inviting me into some of the rage practices, fear practices over the last year or two. And yeah, I just love this idea of flatten the hierarchy and bring your bundle and unroll it and let's see how delicious this can be. Um, I just feel really like ignited right now. So, and I just feel the tears of that gratitude and excitement. So, thank you for this offering and for everybody showing up and for the opportunity to sort of learn, well, what is in my bundle? What do I have to offer? What would I offer? So, yeah, it feels like a really wonderful opportunity and practice expressing myself and just walk alongside people I that just fascinate and excite me. So, yeah, thank you.
Mm, thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I might go next.
Yeah.
Um, Nice to see you, Miss Paula, and nice to meet you, Nicole. It's a little bit resonant here. I'm at the Haven on Gabriola Island, just by the ocean.
Oh.
Space, but just came out of the hot tub, and I'm emerging out of really powerful course that was held here with dear friends of Paula and I, where we were in a school together, Elfie and Gary, and their course was sexual intelligence. And they've been like teaching together for 30 years, like they're in their mid 70s. And we learned that this is the last course that they'll offer, like in this
Ooh.
iteration. So it's just like deep gratitude for their, speaking of like willingness to show up over time and like their bundle, it's like so rich and beautiful and the spaciousness for us, each of us, like, to offer song or poetry or like different things from our own little bundles. So feeling, yeah, just like deeply nourished and appreciation for the ceremony we had this like to close our time together by the ocean with cornmeal that had blessed our feet, that we had like massage and just like offering, just bringing like what do I long for slash what do I want to bring in the world, and it's just like bringing that into the cornmeal and giving it to the ocean and just like Gary's presence and like him blowing the conch and just like, yeah, just like, and there's like divine masculine and Elfie and her divine masculine, feminine. This is really beautiful. And one of my intentions for this time was to, like in general, as like fall is unfolding, is to cultivate erotic connection. It's been 3 years. I haven't been in a love situation. And I've been delighted to explore that with someone here, that I met that's from Vancouver. So and to come within this like shared context has been super rich and beautiful. So that's a little bit of like the present context, which feels like super rich and alive, um, and like full of juiciness um, and like depth and like rootedness. So from like a co-ed space, which is super beautiful too. Um, yeah, I guess like some thoughts around or like little seedlings around creating spaces like safe, brave and brave spaces for touch, within my people. I live on Cortez Island, like the land of Pomako, Clahus, and Triaman First Nations here on the coast. And yeah, just like we don't need to be in a love partnership to experience that. So just like wanting to, uh, I don't know if it's going to be all women, it's like my friends, it's like there's a lot on like the gender spectrum too. So there's a bit less like kind of hard black and white of who's a woman, who's a man, and everything in between. So we'll see. Yeah. And nice to meet everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you. Hello, I'll go. Um, golly. What I was just writing down that really spoke to me about why I'm here um, is because I'm in uh, a curious place in my evolution. Um, One that I don't think I've been in since I was maybe a teenager, which is not having the identities. Um, and it can be uncomfortable. Um, I think as a teenager, it was all the pressure from schools or parents or
friends even. What do you want to do? What are you going to do? What sport are you going to take? Are you going to evolve each year? Are you going to matriculate into the next classroom? And all these things. And I am at the total opposite end of my life as a human in this body. And so I just want to say, it's curious. I have such a large bundle and so much possible bundles that I don't know at this point what I want to bring forth. And I say that out of the best possible training of who I am through mothering, through running a business for 20 years, which involved body awareness. I mean, I could give you so much more, but I emptied myself over and over again to enter the classroom, the elder home, the hospital beds, wherever we went. Um, and I learned it, I practiced it for 20 years. So I so easily ask the question when I come to a group like this, I'm spontaneously aware of what's arising. And I really like this potential of saying, okay, what do I want to bring? So, how many times have I gone into my 6 children and, you know, I can do it. I can alchemy. I can shapeshift. I am so capable of accepting and including so many types, variations, etc. And I like this place of, okay, what do I want? What am I being called from in here without the exterior stimuli? And and it's unnerved me at times because I can see I'm in partnership with my soulmate of 51 years. And I can see myself snapping at him sometimes because I don't want him to talk to me about who I was
Mm.
back then. And how can you not? We've been together a lot. So this is a real curious place. I am here because I love the idea of cycles. I have not had my bleed since 2025. I had a death experience, and the drugs killed my ovary eggs, not my ovaries, but my eggs. And so I love the idea of I still do cycle. And what does that feel like? And to get more in touch with that. Um, yeah, and also very, very curious about feelings. I love the idea of feelings I'm a huge feeler. Uh, and I move a lot of energy. I love the idea of becoming aware of, oh, that's this feeling. Oh, that's this feeling. And not mixing them up or not compounding them on top of each other or whatever the words are. So there's much intrigue and much that calls me. And I will say that the amount of time that and the timing of the showing up of this group it's what's keeping me at bay. So I'm glad I'm here. Um, I do want to reveal I have already said no to 2 other things at 2 o'clock on Saturdays. And so I'm just curious what this might bring. And I really appreciate you guys sharing. And also the deep dive that we'll take together. Um, yeah, I'm in the United States. I think maybe all of you are in Canada. I'm in the United States in Southern Oregon. Um,
Which town?
I'm in Ashland, Oregon. Yeah. I grew up on the East Coast. I am a city girl. My soul is a country mud girl. Um, And I moved here about 9 or 10 years ago, after living in an RV for a year and a half on wheels. So my children and grandchildren are on the East Coast. We do see them very often. We're very close. Um, and I'm not going to lie, there's parts of being in this pressure cooker that really does affect my central nervous system. And I'm doing really well with it. I'm doing really well.
Great. I
Thank
have a
you.
quick question for you.
Yes,
When you said that you said no to other offers for Saturday afternoons, did you mean Sundays?
I meant Sundays
Okay,
and
great.
Saturdays.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure.
Sundays and Saturdays. I have some resistance to the timing of this, that I have only a few more days out in my motherland out there, and to be indoors for 2 hours during the light and the
Yeah.
warmth. So that's kind of where I am with that. And I'm just going to keep letting, who knows? I showed up here. So, hey. And I've known Paula. I will just say that I also was drawn to her, like many of you. We were at the Tokapa Turner's Belonging and Dream 4 days, 5 days. I don't know, maybe it was a week. I can't remember. And we had an opportunity to turn to a partner and do something. And there was this big circle of us. And I literally looked to my right and to my left, and I said, "Oh no, nope." And I spotted Paula from across the room. Literally, I had heard her voice. I think she had spoken, and I just got up and walked over and I said, will you be my partner?" And it took her by surprise, and we 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 began our journey, and we have dream walked together for these last 5, 6 years, and deep, yeah, deep connection.
Thank you. Thank you, Holly.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I'm inspired. I'm Kim, and I'm in Victoria. And Paula has called me in to the circle. And I'm here. I have gone through, I'm in a cocoon in the dark, under the soil right now. After 8 years in Norway and working and loving there. And then a year ago came back to Canada and still I really liked what Holly said about identities. I I'm just yeah, I don't know. So working with that, I know that I feel inspired by working with and having the energies of earth work through me. I'm near the end of a horticulture program, which is so fascinating, putting it aside of permaculture or regenerative. And I am recognizing I've gained a lot from walking in this world. Uh, and I know where I feel more at home. This world of horticulture feels very colonized and controlling. I'm grateful to the people in my course who have. I don't think that my beliefs necessarily. I don't promote my beliefs necessarily when I'm at school, but they reflect back to me. the value that I put on microbes and the other than human world. And I've been thanked for reminding them of that. So I feel gratitude that I can be there. I even notice in one of my teachers' teaching, she's talking more about the native plants now than she was at the beginning of the year. And yeah, so there's all of those pieces, plants. So I hear commonality there, and this cyclical work. I'm coming into 3 full years without a bleed, and still adjusting to that and figuring that out. And I'm here to feel inspired by other women to reclaim my authority, uh, and to learn from and witness and observe other women who are in their authority. And feelings, I feel so much all the time, and I don't know what to do with it. And uh I feel like it impedes me, and a lot of people don't understand. But it feels so good right now to just let it happen and
Yes.
to trust that I'm safe.
Yes.
And yeah, so here I am in the dark. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
feeling. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I, I I wrote this thing down somewhere I started writing it down, and then I added and changed some things in it, and it says, what would I become if I didn't give a shit about what any one human being thought of me? And I also knew that I was essential to the future of the other than human beings on planet Gaia.
Mm. Mm.
And I also drew this map that I wanted to bring into this space, that some of you said things that I thought, wow, okay, this map's coming in. So I call it the map, the escalation cycle. And this is what happens in a nervous system of probably even a very small in utero human being. Something happens that escalates the nervous system, and then how the space is held determines whether they come back down all the way to zero, which I didn't draw in. They come down to their nervous system is regulated. And most of the time, what I've learned is that it comes down some of the way, maybe a bit more of the way, depending on how space is held for them. And because there aren't a lot of super skilled space holders on planet Earth, and there were less when I was a child, I I discovered that I was in a state of constant escalation, that this was my normal, was a state of elevated nervous system activity. And it was life changing to discover that I could go through processes and do experiments that started to bring me down. And
Mm.
what this actually is I started with a nervous system, and it became an always dysregulated nervous system. And now through this work, I've regenerated my nervous system. I didn't know you could do that. So to me, this is a map of really great news. This is possible. And I don't think I'm all the way to where I'm, a regenerated nervous system regulates itself because I am the space holder for the happenings of my life. I am the space holder who can notice that I'm escalated and ask someone to hold space for me and hold space for them to hold space for me. So this is very different than being a child. And
Mm.
the more I've been able to do that, the more I think more authentically adult I have become. So this is part of the, this is part of my determination, my passion, my enthusiasm for the work I've been doing to create that for myself. And another part of it is that, nobody could have done that for me. And I can't do it for any of you. I can bring you like hints and tips and possibilities and experiments. I can hold space for you if you ask for it. And you do the work. And I'm just so turned on about that. I think I already said it. I'm so turned on about doing my next kind of doing the things that I'm on the edge about with other people who are doing the things that they're on their edges about. And to me, that just adds up to whether or not we collectively turn the tide on planet Earth, I will be able to come to the end of my life and and look at the people who are still around and say, wow, that was an epic adventure. I'm so glad I got to be here, period. And I'm so glad I got to be here with you. And I want more people to have a team. And maybe some of the teammates are there for a cycle. Maybe some of them are there for a bunch of trips around the sun, walks around the block, whatever it is. I just, honestly, suicide ideation used to be a big part of my life. I don't have it anymore. I'm so committed to being alive till the end of my life. And I'm so committed to being with Gaia until whatever ends it.
I'm curious if there are any echoes in the space of just what Nicole has shared. Again, wanting to get echoes of what has landed for you, because this is really valuable for me as like kind of curating like the necessities of this space and again, just this beautiful palpation that you've done in all of us bringing our voices to the field. So I just want to kind of turn the cauldron again. And if there's anything that's just burning within you that needs to be spoken.
I'll
Oh,
go.
oh,
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead there.
You go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for speaking to that. I think I can really relate to like having been in like some really dark places with depression over the years. And it's kind of like I guess that's why I'm here. It's like it's for better or for worse, it's like it's kind of a bit of a a ground to like reach for things that bring balm to my soul. So and through the years, Paula's been a big part of that, to like having, yeah, asking to have space held, during these like really difficult times in the last, I don't know, 11, like 10 years, um, so gratitude, like for my own capacity to hold the breath of like my human life, and for my capacity to know when I need support um, within that. So yeah, I can relate to some of those threads. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isabel. I'll follow on that. My father died of suicide in 2000. I can wear 5 different Mendel. I've walked on marches in New York City. I've walked in other suicide places, and I can say I have 6 ancestral bloodline who've ended their life in that way. And it's very curious to me that I don't have that thread in me in that way, and I have not felt that thread. And yet I have this thread of, God damn it, why does life have to be so difficult? And why and what have we created to create this strife? So I can go full on with that subject. And I, yeah, my purpose of being here, I am fully here. I don't think I'd be married to the beautiful man for 51 years and say I'm not, what's the word? I mean, there have been times in my life where I've really felt like especially with my mother, who is a full-blown narcissist. I lived with a woman like Trump. And I was her firstborn daughter. It was extremely challenging. And she's my greatest teacher of what I don't want and what I became. But I do remember sometimes thinking, gosh, I just keep going back and beating my head up against the wall. And so I think where I am and what I've created in the last 5, 8, 10 years of my life is how to be present, fully awake, and not injure myself by not listening or overriding or not giving to myself. And I think that's a life journey. Um, and yeah, believe me, should I move out of this country? Should I be here? And it's just keeps coming back. No, this is where I am. This is where I'm meant to be. And I am here. And I'm learned a lot. But I just wanted to say that the I'm more of an anxious person, and depression in the classic sense hasn't been part of my story. My partner has more of the depressive side without the anxiety side. So, yeah, all those different things. And I resonate with living another 15, 20 years, whatever it will be for me, in this body. And I just appreciate groups like this to ground into, okay, I can do this. We're doing this. And that we have each other's back in some way. So I really appreciate what you were saying, Nicole.
Thank you, Holly.
I would love to add that the space is that's a big attractant for me to this circle. Just holding the space, knowing my experience with both Jill and Paula, um, and how I've been in circles where they have both held space for wherever I'm at. And I love that. And I'm excited for it. And that's where my life starts to, I can feel energy come back in when I'm reminded of the flow that comes through us, and connects us, and the life, even in the circle, that though we call it that it's alive too, and being aware and being in a group of other humans who give space to that is really exciting and brings life. And I waffle between this space of the last 10 years, I would say, waffling between this space of, oh, fuck, it's hard. And, oh, fuck, it's hard. Yeah. And when I'm working in groups like this or being around people that I can hear and experience in my body right now, with these belief systems or perspectives, uh, that is what brings me life, the regeneration. And I was going to say earlier at the beginning, like this horticulture and permaculture. And for me right now, I'm regenerative. I'm really looking at the regenerative farming or regenerative gardening or like regenerating the soil. So I really love that word, regenerative, and nervous system stuff. Yeah, like, yeah, great. Healing that nervous system, healing the nervous system, maybe it's healing the nervous system of the soil underneath us, even. Uh, yeah. So thank you for bringing those things alive in this space.
Thank you, Kim.
Okay. Um, ooh, I loved, I just taking notes, and when Nicole said, what if I didn't care about what anybody else thought about me, and what if I knew I was essential to the future of of beings on Gaia? And then also the talk about suicidal ideation. I have three daughters, and I hear them speak of, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be alive, it's too hard. I've been feeling that's too hard. I had said to Paula maybe yesterday, like, I feel like I have a backlog of stuff. Like, I just feel congested with stuff. Um, so, this idea of the regenerative nervous system, like the feelings work, the holding space feels awesome. The what I long for, what could I bring to the world feels awesome. Standing on the edge with others on their edge feels awesome. Regenerative nervous system of the soil feels awesome. So, yeah, I think I said earlier, flattening the hierarchy sounds awesome. Something was said about sisters earlier, recreating this new world with sisters. And yeah, that all, I think Kimberly used the words brings life, like that all brings life, brings energy. And yeah, I'm in. So thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Mm.
I had a I got a little hit when Holly, you were mentioning narcissism, and I kind of have a question that I'm walking with, which is that when someone has come up here in terms of the escalation of their nervous system, and they've not come down again, what is it that you come down into? And I think it's you come back into your body all the way, and that when someone has not had the chance, not had the space held for them so that they could come back down into their body, where are they? They're in their head. They can only think. They can't feel. They've just lost the connection with their heart, with their conscience, with their, their sense of humanity and humaneness. And I think there's more to like psychopathy and sociopathy than that. But when it comes to, I know that I have been called a narcissist by people in my world. Oh, you're such a narcissist. You only think of yourself. And I know that the times that they're talking about were when I was so escalated. I was so much in my head, and it was about me surviving. Mm. And I lost track of other things that were important to me. And so to come down, down, down. And I think that when you've had that many instances of, I would say, trauma, and not had the safe space to be held to feel about it and to clear that out and to really get the information and energy from each of the feelings that you experienced during that experience, it is really, really scary to head this way, to dare to feel.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I have, I'm coming into my third year of living in Canada again, after having been nomadic for about 3 or 4 years. And I came because my own mother, who I would have described also as a narcissist, uh, invited me to live with her. 5 years ago, if someone had told me, Nicole, you're going to be back on the Sunshine Coast of BC, living with your mother because she invited you and you wanted to, I would have said, I thought you knew me. Like, no, impossible. And it began because I had done all this inner work, and I really wanted this question, like, has it really changed me? And I remembered this quote from someone like the Dalai Lama or Thich Nhat Hanh, or someone said, if you think you're enlightened, is the saying, but if you think you've accomplished any kind of inner work, go spend some time with your family.
I know that quote. I think that's Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle? Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if they all say it.
Yeah.
And I had also discovered that I didn't know a lot about my mother. I had heard these little tidbits, but I didn't know the full story. So I had this dual purpose: find out how I do and ask her these questions about herself, see how it goes. I was prepared to be in her presence for 10 minutes and then want to leave. I was prepared to be in her presence for, at least overnight and then want to leave. I stayed for 10 days. And she occurred to me as almost a different person because of how I was relating with her. And I thought, oh my gosh, this stuff really, I am different. And I especially could say it when she told me. She said, you are so different. And she would tell people, I found this out later, she would say to them, I had 10 days with my daughter, Nicole, you know, the one I've told you about. And she is different. It's a miracle. And I was like, okay, I'm on to something. I had been already delivering it because I was so enthusiastic about the feelings work, especially. But that really got me in actually a liquid state.
Mm.
This identity question mark. Okay, wait, what am I on planet Earth for? Even though I had done the mother graduation, I had so much reorientation had come about. And you know, when I see you, Kimberly, when I see you feeling, and when I see, I think it was you, Jill, were you the one who said you had this accumulation? And I remember being like that. I it was like it was dangerous to watch a movie because I might just break completely down. And I love to do that. And that was sometimes how I fed my emotional body. It was one of my handful of ways. I thought I had a great big bundle with all these tools, with all these possibilities. I even delivered training called The Art and Science of Holding Space before I encountered conscious feelings work and possibility management. And since then, it's it's like I'm so glad that my bundle is not physical because it would be a lot to carry around.
Nicole, can I add something about narcissism?
Yeah.
Um, I did go to a specialist in New York after my father's death, around trying to get away from her and other things. And I love your diagram. And I would say that the narcissist is on the pinnacle, hasn't even come down. And because it's not a learned or a DNA thing, it's something that you create. It's like alcoholism. It's like an escape. It's a board game that they've created with themselves. They're not on the board game, by the way. They have no self, but that's because they got to the stage that you said is so scary that they can't feel. And so they're at the top. And it usually doesn't start surfacing until 18, 19, or 20. And as you get older, it becomes much more apparent. So when my parents got married, I don't think my dad had a clue what she was creating because of her own horrific life. And they they take one person and put it in the middle of the board game, and they take everything from that person. And your goal is not to get on the board game with them. And that's true of all the five character disorders, in my opinion. These are just what I learned. So when I started hearing this and realizing, okay, this person is so sad, the most sad, doesn't hate or love, but has no self, I could get empathy, and the fear, like you say, the thought of spending any time alone with my mother, we would lock doors. We were locking doors for my children. Yeah, was not going to happen, and it did happen. So it's all that work that we do on ourselves that shift the vibration of the others, the seven generations before, the seven generations to come. And so I totally appreciate all that we're doing for
Polly,
that.
the work that you continue to do. I mean, you are continuing to do that lovely family constellation work,
Yeah,
the dreaming, all.
yeah. So deep. Yeah. So much to say about that. But and narcissist isn't the dictionary version. You have to go into the medical books. It's this thick, and you've got to find it. And it's not a selfish person. It's way different than that. But just wanted to let you know things that I had learned having looked into it because I needed
Yeah,
to understand.
that brings more clear distinction to me about, maybe the distinction between someone who would be just described by someone who really had clarity about this territory as having narcissistic person. I don't know what it's called, but the disorder called narcissism, as distinct from narcissistic behavior, which can happen occasionally, but isn't kind of constant and locked in.
We all have narcissistic behavior, every one of us, and we can be called a narcissist, in my opinion. And then the character disorders, you can be a full-blown narcissist, which my mother was, which Trump is, or you can have 10% of this and you can be a histrionic, and yeah, we could get into all that. Not worth it, and just to know the importance of the thread of our healing and the thread of doing our work. They don't even have to know. They don't even have to. Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing life is.
I would like to circle back to um, this piece about our work as women in being so tapped in to the cycles of endings and beginnings, and this incredible opportunity that we have together in this space to really be in the making and the unraveling, and this piece from one of my teachers. Isabel has also studied with Stephen Jenkins in this Orphan Wisdom School. And he speaks about the mark of an accomplished and achieved culture is that humans are remembering and forgetting at different times. And this whole piece of, you know, being in the swamps of forgetting, and that somebody hopefully is remembering while you are forgetting. And would that, this be a space where we can be both? Sometimes I will be the one forgetting, and that's why I want a team. That's why I want to be surrounded by somebody remembering when I'm forgetting.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
I also want to share that when we dropped into that moment of silence, um, I was really with the microbes that were um, alive in the space. So this first initial turning towards one another, and again, you are known to me and unknown to me at the same time, and that this convergence is creating um, creating so much mystery for me. Like there's missed stories,
Mm.
and I look forward to catching them with you. So we're preparing to close this space, and I want to maybe check in if there are logistical questions that you might be having. Um, if there are any burning logistical questions about and maybe needs too, because again, we are making this up as we go along.
I can chime in. Yeah. Thank you for that. Just like, like really grounding like all the threads that were spoken and just kind of anchoring it into like how we all um forget and remember. And it's like it's just being human. It's not really like a big thing. So it's like how, yeah, so that really resonates. That's deeply. I guess question around um like will there be like a specific arc to like yeah, I'll be joining, so I'm excited about that. And like because I know there's rage practice and then your teachings, Nicole, and some of the menstruality, like will there be like kind of a specific arc of how things go for the couple of hours? Or it'll be more of like a co-creative or like a bit of both, or so curious, I'm a bit curious about that.
As best as I can predict, my sense will be that the beginning will be a part about where's everyone at right here, right now? What are you coming with? And then there'll be like, in order to determine the necessity that people are showing up with, and then creating possibilities, bringing nourishment for those necessities. And
Mm,
then the last bit will be something like, uh, what experiments do you choose for the
mm,
2 weeks now before we meet again? And what do you want about that? Is there anything you want to ask your team for?
mm,
And then again, it's my hope that then the 2 weeks between we'll see each other.
mm.
And those of you lucky enough to live near Pollock will probably see a lot more of her than I will, perhaps. And still, Kimberly, we're very close with you and Victoria. And Zooming, yeah, I wouldn't want to be doing a series like this during the summer
Mm.
because of exactly what you talked about, Holly. I want to be outside.
Yeah.
And I think I would only even I am even already like, okay, well, it doesn't really start until the beginning of November, so I have all of October still.
Yeah.
The time change will happen too, so.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
yeah, yeah, I
Thank you.
also have that ache.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Isabel, will you ask for what you want? Like that is,
Mm.
reading the website and the little bits, if there are pieces that are just popping at you, like, yeah, I have a longing and a necessity to
Yeah.
do a 333 and rage and like letting us know
Mm. Yeah.
will be definitely that's what I want to hear. I want to hear what you want because this is our space. This
Yeah.
is and
Yeah.
the
And I
the
think
piece.
it's different as we're going. Like it's like where am I at today? So I think, or like each of us. So I think I like that. It's like also doing some homework of like, okay, having a bit more time to read both and then kind of like have these things percolate. Um, and then, yeah, um, make requests.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
There's no curriculum, and we're not teachers, so don't wait, wondering when we're going to get to something.
Mhm.
Get to it as soon as you're like, this is important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, my recovering teacher, when asked the question, "Is there going to be an arc?" I'm like, I can do it if you want, but I'm trying to hold back here.
Mhm.
I do have a question of I keep hearing the word cycles. And so in my imaginal realm, I would like us to address the cycles of the earth each time that we get together. I mean, short, what full moon, full moon tomorrow type of things. And maybe even the cycles of our being. So I do long for having that as a thread, a grounding thread to my experience here. And so that's part of my longing. And then bringing in the postmenopausal, the
Mhm.
in-menopausal, and the bleeding women, and just having stories around that, what we make up in our minds around it. So that piece is something I would really enjoy.
Thank you. That offers lots of possibilities. We can
I don't know
definitely.
if anyone else agrees with that. You can put hands, yeah.
I I agree, and I'm glad that you're leading into joining, Holly. We'll see how it all goes. I know you're kind of a bit on the fence.
I know,
Um,
this
but
is
you
it's so wonderful. It's pulling me in. So yes, I will.
and I
I'm
and
thinking,
I think and I think a bit on that thread, like we're meeting for 2 hours, so like having a good like built-in break, and I think part of that is like connecting with the outside world with like a song or a time of connection with a being, a tree, or and then kind of like relating, like kind of not just like being in the human realm, but like bringing in the outside world of where we're at,
Mm.
feels important for me as well. Like kind of like a middle space, like 10, 15 minutes or something. So that's a thought too.
I love that, Isabel. I love that break, only for our own body needs, but also to just pivot, step out, come back in. I love that.
Yeah, and again, even though 2 hours sounds like a long time to be on a Zoom call, we're only having 2 hours every 2 weeks together. And so it I and I can imagine that during the 3 months we might become a little more um, competent about being in a small here and now with what's actually needed for each one of us and then as a collective space. And it might be that different people build in some other things around the 2 hours so that during the 2 hours we can do what we can only do together. And that's not to say that someone's like, wow, what I really want right now is to go and stand outside and put my arms around the rowan tree. I might be like, will you come with me, or will you go and do that too and come back and tell how it went, or maybe I'll wait till the end of the call because it'll be this precious time that maybe should have been 3 hours.
Mm. So if there are more pieces that arise, you can track them, and can let them be known.
That's a good point. Will you start an email thread that we can relate to each other or call in the in between weeks, something without just going to one of you two, maybe the whole group? I don't know.
Yeah, that was my thought, was that either we would create an email thread. They can get a little bit tricky to go back and find the part where someone said the thing. And so I did have the possibility of finding out what are the different platforms people are already accustomed to, in case having a Telegram thread might work. But if it's, and it could start out as an email thread already, the emails.
I can do Telegram or email.
Okay.
Prefer not texting. Really
Yeah.
don't prefer
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will start. I have all the emails. I will start it. I commit to that. And if people are add or decide not to come, they can always be discontinued, or who knows, maybe continue to listen in. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the work you have done, that you will do. I look forward to getting to do 3 months of winter work with you.
Much love.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here and
Mhm.
bringing us all in. And nice to meet everyone.
Nice
Yes.
to meet you.
Mm.
I do have one other question. Is it the four of us, or did a few people not show to this orientation that have showed interest?
There,
Yeah, there's at least one, if not two, that I am aware of.
yeah, and there are still several weeks before we start, so I anticipate that there will be more. Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
Hey, well,
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.